Women at work is a hot topic these days, as is the gender pay equity. And so it should be. Most of us live in developed countries, and having more women around the leadership table, it's not just a nice to have. It's not just something we do because it's right. It's something we do because it benefits our business. Because a balanced team is a flourishing team. And of course, if your leadership team is balanced and it's performing at its best, then your business is also going to flourish. The New York Times Glass Ceiling Index confirmed that there are more CEOs in the US called John, and David for that matter, than all of the women CEOs put together. The Women in Business report for 2017 said that globally, the number of senior business roles held by women, 24%, and that the number of organisations without any women at their senior leadership table, which had increased since last year, now stands at 34%. Women still earn about 20% less than men, even for the same job, with the same experience, even when they've got all of the right degrees. And Iceland have recently made it illegal to pay women less than men. I've worked in leadership and personal development for many years, and I've been a woman senior leader around that table, so this is something that I'm passionate about and close to my heart. Yes, we face challenges, and yes, the progress seems painfully slow, but as women, there is also a huge amount of accountability that sits with us, because some of this is down to the things that hold us back in terms of our thoughts, views, expectations, and our opinions of ourselves. Now, I've never felt as a woman that I'm less capable than a man. I didn't grow up with many female business role models. I had my first senior management job when I was 25, and it was for a manufacturing company in the UK. I was the youngest at the management table. I was also the only female, but I didn't let it stop me. I knew that at times I was out of my depth, and I also knew that the majority of the people around that table doubted my abilities on my age and my gender, on both counts. But this drove me to prove them wrong. Over the years, I've been privileged to work with some great male leaders, and I believe they play a huge part in our progress. How can they not? They do occupy the majority of our leadership positions and therefore positions of influence. But I also believe that the buck stops with us. If we don't value ourselves, or think that we're capable of the job, or think that we deserve a seat at the table, how on earth do we expect anybody else to? If we go into a room feeling second class or feeling like we don't belong, we're creating the conditions for that to be accepted by others. But it's easier said than done. For years I'd balanced the imposter syndrome with fake it till you make it. I'd tell myself over and over in my head that I was confident and I could do this until it sank in. I'd use other people's praise because my own didn't carry the same weight to convince myself I was capable. And I'd keep achievement diaries and notes in the back of my journal about things that I'd done to remind myself when I was having those moments of self-doubt. Over my years in HR, I've seen recurring themes play out, particularly with promotions, where men will often look at a job description and may not even have half of it, but believe that they can learn the other half and apply anyway. And for women, the reverse is often true. They can have more than half of the job description in terms of experience, yet still feel they're not qualified for the job, and still worry about applying and doubt that they'll be capable. Add to that the tendency for men to always negotiate harder for more, and for women to settle for whatever salary is offered. This also is a contributing factor, because if we ask for less, we're going to get paid less. We can struggle with perfection too, wanting our work to be 100% perfect, when sometimes 80% is all that's required. It's not about doing a bad job, it's about getting it done rather than getting it perfect, and believing that that's enough. Sometimes our perfectionism is our fear of failing manifesting. We're so worried about failing that we go well over what's necessary to make sure we succeed. Another thing that sometimes we struggle with as women is presence. Sometimes we feel we need permission to speak up, or we apologize a lot. We worry that an idea may not be perfect enough to share, or we worry that our idea won't be accepted, or that maybe we don't have the authority to even give our opinion in the first place. I've seen women shy away from taking credit for a job well done, or even let others take credit for them, putting our success down to things outside of ourselves, whether it be other people or luck. As women, we have so many natural abilities that make us good, particularly in the workplace, particularly in leadership. And emotional intelligence is one such thing. Korn Ferry did a study with 55,000 individuals over 90 countries. And they found that out of 12 emotional intelligence competencies, women outperformed men in 11 of them. And it's often skills we've been taught over the years to dumb down in the workplace, to underplay, understate. And now things like emotional intelligence are some of the most sought after leadership skills. And research now suggests that EQ is actually responsible for 80% of our success, as opposed to just intelligence alone. Our emotional intelligence is what makes us good at dealing with people, good at building relationships, good at communicating, good at influencing, good at resolving conflict. It's our empathy. It's our resilience to bounce back from tough times and not get derailed by setbacks. It's our motivation, how we continue to motivate ourselves and others. Our awareness not just of ourselves, but of other people and what's going on around us. And it's key to making good decisions and being a good leader. I don't believe we need to be more aggressive to break through the glass ceiling. It's about being savvy, letting our work do the talking, and taking credit for that work. Others need to know who we are and what we're capable of, and that implies having presence, being noticed, taking the risks and the opportunities as they arise, and facing that fear of failure, but giving it your best shot anyway, because 9 times out of 10, that is enough. But in a bid to be noticed, it can be too easy to try harder, be louder, be more aggressive. But success in leadership is not about being more like a man. It's about being more like ourselves, embracing our authenticity, building good relationships, delivering on expectations, by doing what we say we will and building our credibility. And then when we talk, people listen. And it's less about the gender of who's around the table and more about the value that they can add. We know that there's still a way to go in terms of redressing the balance for women in leadership, particularly in the pay space, and we need support to make that happen. But there's also a huge amount we can do ourselves, and we need to take accountability for that as women. Here are some of my top tips. Know yourself, who you are, and what it is that you want, and embrace your authenticity. Empower yourself, take accountability and own this. Align to your values. Always have an open mind. Take time to reflect and learn. Ask for feedback. Take credit for your work and take the opportunities as they arise, even if you feel you might not be ready yet. Create yourself a platform to be noticed and let your work do the talking for you. Build a good network. Have strong support networks. And find a mentor. Be resilient. Take time out for yourself. It is the foundation for you being able to perform at your best. Trust your intuition. Leverage your strengths. Face your fears and get out of your comfort zone. And dream big. Don't put a limit on what you're capable of doing and what you want to achieve. Always do your best work and let that do the talking.